life switch to sports mode, hold it in the road. When you get so mad you can explode, hold it in the road. Bro, just stay focused on your goal, don't let them crack the mold. The finish line straight ahead, bro, hold it in the road. When life switch to sports mode, hold it in the road. When you get so mad you can explode, hold it in the road. Bro, just stay focused on your goal, don't let them crack the mold. The finish line straight ahead, bro, hold it in the road.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Holding in the Road, Mr. Gray Fox, Big Bad Harold. Today, we sitting here with a man of many, many, many hats. Mr. Lonnie Copeland, a.k.a. Chico. Dusti.
Chico Dusti, that's right.
That's exactly what's happening. Thanks for taking the time, good brother.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure, man. Anytime I can, just kind of come out and we just kind of like hold it in the road, you know what I mean? From all aspects, from business and just walks of life. Things that I have an opportunity to talk about. Out of our busy schedules, we're trying to, still focus on some main things, even if it ain't current events. We make up our own events here. We hold it in the road. Kadobe apparel. You never know what to expect. And I'm going to go ahead and spill the beans on some of this stuff whenever, I'm going to follow your lead. So you pop me off and...
Okay. Oh, yeah. Kadobe apparel.
Yeah.
The meaning, the name, what is it, acronym behind Kadobe?
Well, yeah. The Kadobe apparel, let me give them a brief history on it, right? So basically, we have been, I would say me personally, been playing with the name for maybe over 10 years. And it stands for creating a diversified outlook beyond ethnicity. And I came up with that name because I wanted to be different, not only just in the fashion, but just when people say it, it kind of go with the flow of some of those high-end brands. I've always been like that. Even when I was doing the music, Alkon Entertainment, I wanted it to say, when they say MCA, Electra, Alkon, I always had a vision of being corporate, clean, and just big. So the Kadobe apparel, once I, came up with the meaning, I kind of played around with T-shirts at first, just kind of like in-house, just seeing what was going on. And people kind of was like, yo, you may be on to something. So I came up with a nice little logo. And this is probably like my second logo that I'm really like on right now. So just kind of played around with the logo for a while till I came up with something that I thought would be eye-catching and stick. And once I did the logo, it came about Target. I said, I like FAMU.
Right.
I like Florida State. I like, college football, NFL football, sports in general.
Right.
So I said, hey, I could see this too as being something big like Nike. So I wanted to go ahead and, parallel myself with some of the things that they were doing and start getting into the sport colors. Tried to go in and, couldn't really get in and get the logos, but I said if I could use the colors and do some slogans and that would be kind of close to what was going on with that team, then it would kind of like people would say, oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. I get your drift. So we've been doing some things there. And throughout that process, I have had some opportunities come up to where now they're like, hey, we can, do some logos things. So that's going to be real big in the future. So for those who have been waiting, asking or whatever, or just kind of sitting back wanting to see where things are going, they are definitely moving in a big positive direction, for this apparel.
Okay. Now, I know a lot of friends. I got a lot of friends. I know a lot of people that's trying to build a brand, that's trying to build a label. What are some of the challenges? I know a lot of people that's trying to build a brand, create their own label. What are some of the challenges that you faced or someone may face, just trying to build a brand, something to turn that dream into a reality?
Okay, well, the first thing is being able to first get spiritual grounded. When you're spiritual grounded, it took me, I've been doing, and I'm going to go into that as well, the music side of things, business, over 20 years. And, I've had, some ups and downs, and when throughout my life and just growing in general, I started realizing that, hey, the Father was in control the whole time. So now I'm what they call being aware, becoming aware. So to say all that, to say once you get spiritual grounded, you become aware of who's really in control and how to communicate, and the Father will talk to you and give you these ideas. And you have to be self-motivated. The number one thing, you are going to get discouraged by your own thoughts. The devil's going to be right in your ear saying, oh, that ain't going to work, man. That's crazy. Why, what we do? So you got to reach down when no one else is going to believe in you. Not even, I'm not going to say they won't believe in you. People will, and it'll be close people, but no one's going to have that burning fire within to really, really get passionate about what you're doing. You're going to find yourself having to be self-motivated, and it's going to be you and God, and that's the only thing that I feel that I've learned. You're going to learn how to do LLCs, pay taxes. You're going to learn how to do flyers, do promotions. You're going to learn that throughout just the business itself, the journey within itself. Mm-hmm. But getting your relationship is the most important thing that I've really, and mentioning that, I'm even going to start doing spiritual shirts. I did one that's called it's like the ADT logo where I said I am protected by God instead of ADT, and it says 24/7 blessings, which is available on the site right now, which is we'll go into plug in the site where people can go follow and whoop-de-doo. So that's the most thing, because if you notice, man, in the power of the internet, it's not as expensive as it used to be. And you can kind of stay consistent, and you can really, really build and stay in front of the audience, whereas back in the days, it would have been way more challenging because you have to go get inventory, hope it sells. It's a whole nother game. You know what I mean? It's two separate games. And I kind of came into the fashion side of it through the entertainment, but merch wasn't as big as, it was always there, but it was for some like the bigger artists that was really like doing merch. I came up in like a bass music era. And, man, these girls shaking, man. You buying merch, they buying drinks, you know what I'm saying? They buying all the other stuff in the club, So, but moving forward, as I get into this new wave of things, and I kind of retired. And wait, first of all, let me go. I don't want to jump because that music is a whole nother subject. So let's just keep it right here at Kadobe, and we'll talk about that further down the podcast. So let's go with the next question of the apparel side.
Well, the apparel side, I wanted you to plug that website that you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, it's kadobeapparel.store. Kadobeapparel.store. And what it is we had kadobeclothing.store. So now there are two sites. So if you go to one, it's going to lead you to this one, but kadobeapparel.store is the one that we're pushing right now. And that came about just in trial and error and in time expanding. Because like I said, we started with T-shirts. Now we're on shoes. Shoes have been the biggest thing that I've been getting, like the biggest buzz, the most sales, those shoes. And when they go there, they'll see it. So I said, hey, I can't say clothing anymore. Let's go apparel. It's more general. So growth is going. It's moving. Mm-hmm. It's moving dead slow. New brand, of course. I can't get out there. And I'm not trying to get people to say, hey, buy the logo. They're not going to buy the logo right off, So my thing is like, with your organizations, schools, hey, let's tie in. Let's do some events. Let's do some apparel catered to these teams. And let me, like I have some scholarship funds, hey, let me donate a portion of the proceeds and stuff like that. So it's helping the community. I even have some stuff where I'm going to go out and do some tangible stuff where you could be a part. Not just you, but everybody who wants to be a part of this Kadobe movement, see something that I take. We're going to work on something for the homeless. You know what I'm saying? For everything that you purchase and everything that you contribute to Kadobe Apparel, we're going to build that something that you could physically be a part of from the city. And we could take that on the road all over. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just not saying, hey, we're going to do this for the urban, or we're going to do this for Latinos or whoever. It's for everybody. And that's what the Kadobe thing. If you go and log on to the website, you're going to get a little bit more in depth. And we do have things for everybody. They loving the colors now. Back in the days, I could just take a shirt like this, and I could say, hey, take the Russell Simmons approach. Black and white. White shirt, black logo, black shirt, white logo, and let's sell the logo. Nike started that way, but here in this day, we really more challenging, man. These kids, we doing stuff, they want the colors. They want the lollipop colors. They want the fruity, and they're all over the place. So you got to kind of not leave them out as well, because the kids, the females, they're going to make the Big Papa, Gray Fox, and my man Big Harold, and Chico Dusti pull out that funds. We ain't going to be the ones pulling out that money, you know what I mean? So they are the enforcers to make that purchase to say, hey, Dad, I want that shirt. I'm liking the handprint, and it looks like what I did in kindergarten and first grade. And what is that? Oh, that's that Kadobe apparel, Chico, Dusti, you know. So now you like, well, I want 3 of those for Christmas. So, hey, you got to get them, you know. So, I mean, you know, that's where we at, man.
Right. You spoke of spirituality and passion. I often say that passion is that great divider.
Yeah.
You know, once you get to that crossroad of, you know, hey, look, everything didn't turn out the way I actually wanted. You know what I mean? How bad do you really want it? Some people turn around. But just sitting here listening to you, you know, when it comes to brand building, of the people that I mentioned before that's trying to build brands, never went into a conversation, you know, as in depth as the ideas that you have to promote what you got going on. You understand what I'm talking about?
Right. And
so I think somebody could learn from that you really have to go in depth with it, that you really have to, you know, think about ways that you can actually promote other than just like you say, you know, you just promoting the brand. You know what I mean? There's other things you can do to promote your brand.
Well, you got to have everything have to be passionate and have purpose.
Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you.
If you're money driven and thinking that you're doing it for money, you're going to run into problems. You're going to run into not only, I could tell a guy, if it was all about money, then there would be no failures. Everybody would just buy their way in because, I mean, you could take $1 and spend it like it's $5. You can just go to a different store. You can get economical, and we know there would be no failures. There would be no losses. Companies would never lose if they can just buy their way in. You have to find something that connect with the public, the people, and they don't want to feel shysted or scammed or whatever. You know what I mean? So a lot of times people get into this and they say, "Hey man, I'm really just trying to make a quick dollar." In the end, buyer, the consumer, they could feel that,
right?
You know, so they're like, yeah, good idea, but something is not right, and they'll let you know. And again, when they say something is not for everybody, that's not saying that you can't make it. If you do anything long enough, you know, you take Floyd Mayweather, he started off. Probably couldn't really even throw a correct punch. But something you do consistently, every day, and you are passionate and you are determined, you're going to get great. Some of us may ride a car to get there. Some of us may ride a bus to get there. Some of us may fly. Some of us may take a hot air balloon to get there. Somebody take a bicycle.
Right.
But we will reach the destination. Right. Some of us is just going to get there sooner than others. And some of us may never get there because we're just going to get tired of the journey. Right. So persistence, faith, and just determination is what it's going to take in anything you're doing. It's not going to be overnight. See, if you're going, and man, I have some dark days, man. I have some dark moments, man, to where I feel like they feel. I feel like giving up. I feel like quitting. And I mean, it could be actually just going good. It's just the devil just like, come here. Stop thinking about that crap. Give you something bad to think about. And then all of a sudden, here comes the world just caving in, little problems turning into, there's not even problems, it's just the spiritual side of the battle. And you like, man, you know what, man, I just feel like just being normal. But then you ask yourself, what is normal? What is normal? You know, and I tell people that when they say I don't work for anybody, I say, well, you work for even when you work for yourself, you don't work for anybody, you provide a service. You provide a service. You charge people to do whatever you do. If you work at McDonald's, I charge you a certain amount of hours to make sure these burgers get done and get these fries served to these customers. I don't look at it like I work for you. I provide a service for you. And once you start changing how you process information going in, it could come out right. It could come out better. And that's where I think a lot of us struggle, you know, with the challenges. Sports, very risky. Just like business is very risky. It all depends on how you design your play. I mean, if you don't, you know, make it plan, maybe you can bring that wisdom to coach. You know, you can help another person, you know, grow. If I say don't hit $1 billion in sales, then maybe I can help someone else. That I could be a part of that movement, that we could spiritually connect and align and do the thing that we could do together.
Brother, let me tell you something, man. Just sitting here talking to you, I see why you're a man of so many hats. You know, I see it. And what we known each other 15, 20 minutes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel where it comes from, man. I mean, like I say, I see the passion, I see the drive, I see all the things that a person would need to be successful. I mean, I've read your bio, you know what I mean? And, you know, you've done some very, very interesting things, you know, that you've achieved things that people are trying to achieve right now.
Right.
But like I say, it's that passion there, and like you was talking about. And listening to you, brother, you can be a preacher or a pastor, you know what I mean? Motivational speaker.
And I have heard that from my mom. I've heard that from several other people, especially I had all this hair one time, and I was doing off glass before it really got gray, right? Right. I cut my hair. Yeah. Everybody like, yo, man, where you been? They see me in a long time. Like, yo, you clean, you look different. You whoop you do it. You know, they don't want to go like, hey man, you been locked up and do something crazy, you know. So they go, oh man, you look like you could preach. You know, you have something to say, and I would be like in the back of my mind, like, yeah, but I had some rough nights too, you know. So that was before I started really realizing the whole process, like I was saying, on the spiritual side of things. And I'm still learning, of course. But I've been able to have what they would call testimonies, building up, and I'm starting to realize how to convey those to the people. So that's why you would say motivational preacher. I kind of feel that now. I was the lifestyle kind of had me jaded in a sense of direction and kind of holding that side back to being, not really using the word ashamed, I don't think that's the right word to say, but maybe not wanting to, maybe my demographic, the crowd won't be as upset, you know, like, we're going to accept that because we want raunchy, dirty. We want this. We want that. So my target, I was just kind of, it's called growing, man. Right. You know, and that's it. And once you get over that barrier of feeling like you got to be this other person or be this way to make people happy or appease them, that's the minute you start winning, because they're gonna have something to say whether you win or whether you lose. You know what I'm saying? If you're doing good, they're going to say something. If you're doing bad, they're going to say something. You know? And one thing about it, everybody loves a winner. But when you lose, you will lose alone. But if you got God, you never lose it. You're steady growing.
Amen. Amen, good brother. All right, we're going to switch gears here for a minute. Let's talk about Alkon Entertainment.
I knew that was coming. I was about to say it. I knew it was on, and you can see I was leading up to that. I'm like, okay, let's go there now. Go ahead.
Well, tell me about Alkon Entertainment. You know what I mean? Where you was at, how you got that started. I mean, you know.
Okay. Well, what I said about the name at the beginning of my whole ordeal with the Kadobe, I'm going to go back to Alkon. Okay, and this one is like really passionate because I've been doing music like from rapping, recording, doing assemblies, all kind of stuff when it comes to this. So this
you used to rap?
Yeah, I used to rap, sing. I used to do all that stuff. I used to want to be an artist.
Chico Dusti?
No, I was going about something else now. The KIDDNICE. Kid Nice. I was Kid Nice back then, you know. Okay. And I used to get to the point where I'm going to tell you, I had it so bad where I would, I was always good with paper and craft and stuff, so I would take pictures of, take those old Polaroid where you spit out, and I would put on my old Kango and the big rope I had and stuff like that, and I would get the picture taken, and I would take it and I would cut it. I would carve it out, and then I would make my own little insert to go into the cassette, and I would get my markers, I would do my graphics and everything, and I would make my own little J card of my tape cover, and then I would go take an instrumental, and I would have two places where I record on one side, and I would put the speaker here, and I would have the instrumental playing, and I would put the other box here, and I would press record, so the music and the vocals, and I would be back just enough to where, it's been a journey in the music. That has been a passion, but it's been a lot of pain too. It's been a lot of pain, and I'm gonna go because I'm gonna be as brief as I can. Now,
do your thing, brother. Do your thing.
Hey, Fox. No matter, we got to cut it short. Don't get mad. I got to cut it short. But anyway, when I say Fox, I don't want to say the whole name, but Fox. Here we go. So let's go back to roughly 94, 93.
Okay.
Alkon, I was in Family High, actually. That's where I graduated from. And in the yearbook, I knew exactly the direction I was going before I got out of there. And if you get the yearbook in 94, it would say, congratulations to our future president of Alkon records at that time. You know what I'm saying? So basically, I was doing it again, Alkon. Give me a name that stand out. I had partners around me. We would be all talking, yeah, man, call it this, call it that. You know, and I'm like, no, that's just too street. That's not how I want to represent it. That's more like a rapper. Like, I want to stay big again. I'm trying to go big again. So anyway, long story short, I did my research, and I was still trying to be an artist, a songwriter. I was a good songwriter. Still probably got it a little bit, but I was trying to do that, and I was very passionate about that. I had guys at the school. We'll be singing, and we'll be doing our little harmonies, trying to do all the boys, the men, the Jodeci, the whole nine. So we was all into that. So one of my other partners, he came in. Anyway, he came up with a book of how to start your own label and whoop-de-doo. And I said, start your own label. I wasn't even really, you know, like thinking of being a CEO or being a boss or anything like that. So basically, my mom's, and I keep saying, shout out Ernestine Copeland, that's my mom, you know what I'm saying? Jimmy Wilson, my dad.
That's what's up.
So,
that's what's up.
You know, I gotta say that for Christmas, I think the book, this is when they had Source magazines, they had like the books where they had in the back you can call these 1-800 numbers and tear out the coupons or whatever. So I said, I want this book. It was like $69, getting close to Christmas. So she ordered it. It came in early, and I got the book. And I would start just self-educating. And when I tell you it had start to finish, from how to set up the business structure, I knew none of this stuff. It was just like DBAs and federal ID numbers, and I'm like, whoa, and it's giving me step by step, but I had the tenacity to go at it. So I was like, I come home from the moon, I had a few, you know, I be drunk. Lay down, before I lay down, I would cut that light on dim, I had a dimmer, and I open that book, and I would just read that information, man, about 5 o'clock in the morning. You know, jump up, go have my day, go to work, do whatever I was doing. I can't remember exactly what I was doing at that time, but I know I would be up and I would do all that self-research, all that research. And I found out how to actually do it, started calling, getting my suppliers lined up. I think my first one was disc makers. And I said, man, this is it's going to take some money to do this because back then it was vinyl and cassette. So I would call them people, and I would disguise my voice so many different ways because I was just trying to figure out, how does this game go? So, sir, the black and white is cheaper than the white, or the color. You know, I was just asking questions. What is a lacquer? How do you cut vinyl? What is whoop to do? How do you do this and do that? So I would come up with it, and I said, now I got this game. Now I need an artist. So Neighborhood Nuisance, they was my first artist. They were at B. They was doing some stuff locally. They had the talent, and I was at Taco Bell and doing some stuff, and he came through. Actually, he went to my school, and I was like, yo, man, let's. I was like the true Russell Simmons at that point. Hey, man, I want to put out some records. I can get this vinyl cut, man. You know, let me come out there and hear you and your brother. You know, A-Rock, they was doing some stuff in the studio. We was at that house, man. I spent probably so much time at that house where everybody was going out and whoop-de-doo, and they was buying clothes and stuff, man. I was taking my chips, and I was investing in studio time. And I skipped a big one about the talent shows when we won money in talent shows. And me and one of my homeboys, Chad, we went and did a studio session at Flamingo, and we did our first record. So I kind of skipped some stuff. We're going to need to cut and paste there. Maybe not, but we did. We took our money, and I recorded, and I stayed up. It was like, I think I was in the 11th grade, and 90.5 played our record for the first time. Mm-hmm. And he was sleeping. I finagled that, and I was like, hey, man, you got to play this record to do. I forgot the name of the DJ. And he was like, man, I'm going to play this record for y'all tonight, man. So, you know, back then, man, 11:30, 12, I don't know what these kids going, man, I was late. I mean, we in high school, you still, if you got that phone and you talking to that girl, and mama pick up that other one, she may not say nothing, but you done heard that pickup. Yeah. I mean, all right, I ain't going to embarrass you right now, but I mean, you need to be 100 things down, buddy. So, anyway, we had to bend the rules that night, and I said, man, I know he's going to play it. So it was getting close to the end of the shift, and 90.5 was our station. So it was getting close to the end of the shift, and then all of a sudden, Felina, that was the name of the record. I didn't even have a girl named Felina. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I just was like, ABC got this record, Belle Biv DeVoe got this kind of record, and we doing it. We called ourselves Shaylon. His name was Shadrick, my name was Lon. We put it together. Jodeci doing their thing with Jodeci with the names. We gonna call ourselves Shaylon. We a two-man group. They tell you it take 4 of them. It take 2 of us. We can do this. We can do that, and you know whatever. So we did our records. We did it, and it was it was crazy because I had that tape, man, and I found it, and if I go check my archives, I probably could put my hands on it, but I don't know where I play it, but it's just a great souvenir. So let me stop there to bring it back to the vinyl, because that's going to be interesting. Once I got a little older and I come out and I want to press up my first record, and I think it was every bit of 95. So I enrolled in school, FAMU, after I graduated. I went, I said, okay, so I got that financial aid money, pressed up some vinyl of my company.
Right.
And then withdrew from the school. Wasn't nothing against FAMU, but I went back. I did go back. I did go back and get some more lessons. You know what I'm saying? I still got to go back and finish up some stuff. But anyway, shout out to FAMU. No disrespect. So it was just that I went and I took the extra and I pressed up some vinyl. And we serviced the record. I did exactly what they were saying. Called distributors, serviced the record pools back then, and I narrowed it down to Florida. And I had surgery that year. I was about 18, and my appendix had burst, and I was doing some things. And the local label, TJ DJs, he was that's how I met him. He seen me putting records in Vinyl Fever and stuff. He's like, yo, man, I got a record pool. Give me some of this vinyl. I got the DJs in Tallahassee. And that's how me and him formulated a working relationship. And I remember that because I was just getting kind of like out of the hospital. And I think I might have called him from the hospital because I would have a voicemail for my separate business number at my mom's house. So I'll check that sucker, man, all day, every day. See if anybody would call it. You know what I mean? I had a house number, then the voicemail number. So anyway, but after that, the records, actually they sold pretty good because I had them on consignment. I had them local. The distributors never really picked them up. They never really had a reason to at that point. So that was that. And through that connection, I met a lot of people. I gained a lot of respect out of this panhandle of Tallahassee. And I had a guy named Shabazz. He had did some records, and his group was called Out of Order. And basically, he came song. Tutti Frutti Jump. And he was telling me that this was going to be a big record. He let me hear it. And I always had an ear, so I could hear a record before it was even recorded and tell you whether I wanted to go with it or kind of see if it had the potential. They call that now, I don't even know if they call it A&R now. They call it something else. But back then, it was true A&R. You would have to get this record, take it as a baby. I would hear this record, and I would say, I heard the record, and I say, yeah, man. And he had a couple other producers. They did some stuff to it, and we went Total Chaos, God Bless the Dead. He ended up producing the record. So I took my same thing. At this point, didn't really make a whole lot of money in the game because I was just getting started and I was learning, and so it wasn't because of I got ripped off. That wasn't it. It was just the growing pains and just learning the game of music business. Came across the record, we brought it to life, added again, got to get some more money to press up some vinyl. So
and this Tutti Frutti Jump?
Yeah, this Tutti Frutti Jump record. So I get this record, and I go to my granddad, I go to my dad, Jimmy. I go, yo, he had a local club. He had a nightclub over here, Alabama Street, the New Image Lounge. And I was like, yo, Dad, I got a record. And he would always support me in doing these projects. But it's like just almost like the Russell Simmons story. Like, yeah, they're saying the same thing about the last record. It was supposed to be good, and this and that. It was supposed to be the big one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what make this one so different? I say, man, come on, it's gonna be. And we ended up. I ended up getting with my granddad, and he was like, all right, I'm going to teach you I'm going to loan you some money, too, along with what you got from your dad, and we're gonna do this thing, and I'm going to tell you, you're going to pay back. You're going to pay me back regardless of what happened with the record. I'm going to teach you how to, build your credit, and he showed me some things, granddad. His name was Lonnie Copeland, too, so God bless him, rest in peace on that end.
That's what's up.
And I got the bread, and I did exactly what I was supposed to do. I went and pressed up the record. The records came. Same thing, we started doing a record pool, but I didn't realize I had put together what they would call a hit. So I went back to TJ, hey, yo, I got the record, serviced it through his pool, serviced it, and me and a guy named Jay Diggs, which is my homeboy, Round Table Management, he was like managing the artists at that time, Out of Order, so we was working in cahoots. We was hitting the road, And I think we had did some shows in Panama City. We had did some shows in Orlando. We had did some shows. Wait, we was doing shows, and we took that record. We was on our way. We went to Jacksonville, and we was going to the radio station to drop it off. When we dropped that record off, Jeff Lee was like, "Yo, I need y'all to come back." And this was like Freaknik was doing their thing in Daytona, and Jacksonville was just starting theirs, and they was like, "Yo, I need you to come back and do the Freaknik in March." So it's like, yeah, cool, man. He's like, this record here, man, this is a hit. So he immediately, this is the first time I've ever seen guys, and I know what they say when you got a hit record and when you don't have one. Mm-hmm. You know, artists, they don't understand this. They always tell me, you don't know, man, you just got to put it out there. I'm like, dude, it is a difference. When it's a hit record, we don't even talk payola, we don't talk, it's no calling back. They start calling you. You know what I'm saying? People start like calling you. They actually coming out to find you, because back then it was no MP3s where you could just, I'm gonna send it to you, email it, and no, you down to like 5 pieces of vinyl. I gotta make this 5 pieces count because this guy called me from this place. It's a real supply and demand at this point. So TJ was like, yo, I think he had just got DJ Taz on. I think it was Taz or somebody. They had just did a deal. But anyway, he plugged it in. He plugged it in. It was David Mystery, I think, at that time, and he had Breakaway. But anyway, they did the deal. And Warner Brothers, I think it was originally supposed to go through BMG, and I was stuck on Independent because remember I had read this book, so I was like, Independent. And, it was like, well, you could take it a step further if you just do this deal with this major, because at this point, they didn't have to really see the numbers like they have to see now. It was just more like, yo, let's put the record out. We could just see how it sound. We could tell how it sound. The energy, it's a hit. Mm-hmm. So it was like, okay, cool. So long story short, we do the deal with Warner Brothers. They pick up the record, and we had to go on a 6-month C's, almost like stop pushing the record, because we had to get sample clearances from George Benson, who originally did the on Broadway, because they had the on Broadway sample. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, oh man, I can't believe this. I have my biggest record right here that I'm feeling really, really jump into this game, and oh man, what am I gonna do? Because now he's a Jehovah's Witness. He didn't believe in what we was talking about and all this. I'm like, wow. Oh, wow. Then we had to go through Cynthia Wiles, who was the publishers, all the holders, and so it took 6 months. And then they was like, I think it was the other company attorney they called, and they was like, look, man, we got a plan. We're gonna go give her. Cynthia Wiles was flying back from somewhere, and we're gonna send her a letter explaining that we're gonna change the lyrics to the song slightly, the ones that she didn't like. And we did that, and we're gonna send it to her, and we're gonna send a box of chocolate. She liked chocolate, so we sent chocolate flowers. So she was on the plane, whatever. They was doing all this stuff. Like, remember, man, I'm about like 20 years old, man. I'm still sending people in to buy alcohol. I shouldn't be saying that, but I'm not even really legal, and I'm running this type of magnitude of business. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's another thing where God come in, and I didn't know till now. He was taking me through the changes in the midst. Yeah. So bring you back to the story. So once she got it, she said, let's do the record. So remind you, we like, for real? So now we could get back geared. So the record comes back, and I'm skipping some stuff, but I gotta, I'll be here all day and night telling you piece by piece, play by play. So anyway, we put the record, they bring the record, Warner Brothers stamped the record. Remind you, the Southeast, they still like, man, what happened? Kind of fell off a little bit because we had to pull back. Right. But the record still had its legs and energy. And one day, we get a call. We say, hey, man, Don Cornelius wants y'all to come on Soul Train and perform this record. And we like, come on Soul Train and perform this record. Wait. No, they said, Warner Brothers said, hey, we want Dave Myers to come and shoot the video. Dave Myers was the guy who shot Tupac video. He just shot all the Destiny Child. He was like the hottest videographer at the time. He was the guy. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And they sent like treatments from everybody, because when you did it, I think that budget was like $100,000 budget. So back then, for a bass artist on a video, that was pretty big. I mean, I'm talking like when we did that video, it was in California, and I'm like, okay, so we got options. I'm a country boy. I'm from Tallahassee. I'll be in country, walk color, all over, all over. So I'm like, we getting ready to get on this plane. And I'm an executive on this board. This is my company, and I'm affiliated with majors, and we major players all the way around. Never graduated in business, self-educated with the Heavenly Father. And I'm like, let's go for it. I never flinched. I never got scared. I never challenged any of it. Let's get on the plane. Let's go. I didn't even have a cell phone at the time. I'm strictly working off beeper kings. Beeper, Liberty, I think beeper. You know what I'm saying? They beeping me. I got to, hold on, fellas. I got to go all the way back home and make this long distance call. They called me from California. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, and it's the head people. I mean, it was just like that. So, but anyway, we get out there. And, man, it was the first time I have ever been on a real scene. It was like a movie, man. It's like, whoa, we got our own RV. They got RV, they got the models, they got the RV for them, they got the RV for everybody. I'm talking about cranes coming from everywhere, lights, directors, and they got me a nice little seat right here by Dave. And I'm like, man, you know what I'm saying? I'm just chilling, yeah. And I'm like, so I'm looking at the video, what's going on, and they were like, hey, you want to be in the video? I'm not really trying to be puffy, but let's go ahead. Let's do it. I used to rap. Let's go. Let's get some things going. So I got in the video, and it was a good thing that I did, because what I'm about to bring you to, it was the key to us being on Soul Train, because we had some internal issues with the complete group going. So like after the video was done 1 week, the next week, Don Cornelius called out the blue. We want you guys on Soul Train, and we like, whoa, Soul Train.
Don Cornelius called you?
Well, he didn't call me directly, but he called out people. So, you know, but I mean, we had conversations definitely, you know, once we got there and interacted, you know. That episode was Destiny Child, Keith Washington, and Out of Order. And that was the one that we were on. And Destiny Child, they was little bitty girls. They was down the hallway, and that's when they had the No record out. And that was like, Luke was there. He was there doing his Cisco and Maya, because that's how I learned later on how to do my TV shows and shooting segments, like do a whole bunch of them at one time. I learned that from watching how Soul Train did it. They would have the host, and they would just change so many wardrobes, which is, I wish it was Kadobe at the time, but now it's Kadobe 90. But they would be changing it, and they would go in and they would shoot. They would take like a whole weekend. And they would shoot maybe 3 months, 4 months worth of Soul Trains. And they would have every artist staying there. From Sam Salter, he was there with us next door. We chopped it up with him at the time. So they would have like just the hotel with all of us there. So we would just mix and mingle, chill, and they'll tell you, okay, tomorrow the limo will be here to pick you guys up at this time, and you go to, and we're gonna shoot. So we go back there. I mean, they coming out with the haircut folks, the makeup folks, and they come in and tape on where you need to stand. And I'm like, oh man, the limo driver giving us some scenario about him and Jodeci when he had Jodeci in here, and Jodeci left all this stuff, just they picked up a bunch of girls that was getting out of high school. I mean, it was just the whole thing. And I mean, even flying to LA, I was seeing celebrities that were just flying. They was like, get used to it. This is what it is now. And I'm like, yo, okay, this is cool. I mean, seeing, I think Ron Simmons, Captain, who was that wrestler, had the rubber band on his, I mean, everybody. I seen Thea, she just walking around the airport, and it became an actual norm, Mm-hmm. It was, at first, it was like a little bit of starstruck, like, but you can keep your composure, like, yeah, okay, no. I'm young, I'm Tallahassee, but hey, I can handle this, So we went into that, and that was a good experience. We did a lot of traveling, and we did some things that for the average person, even in the Southeast, wouldn't do.
How did the deal work out?
The deal didn't quite. We got into the single with an option to do the album, and they called us. They called and said, we are going to exercise the right, and we're going to do the album. Man, we started putting together the album. We started getting, I think we had like Magic Mike on the line. We had back then, we had K2 Izzo. Of course, Total Chaos was like our main producer in-house, because we was all here. We had it was some other guys, man. DJ Trans. It was a lot of people that was relevant at the time because the budget was out there. But Warner Brothers decided we cleaning house. We're firing our whole staff. And I didn't realize at the time, it was like they fired their whole department, the urban department, because I guess at the time it wasn't moving like everybody else from Capitol and MCA, all the other competitors. It just wasn't. We need a whole new A&R department. We need new this, new that. And our project got lost in the shuffle. So it's like, wait a minute, we got a single, we getting ready to do the album, we getting ready to really take it to the next level. We really finna get this thing where it need to be and move these numbers like we need to. And they call with that news, you know. And that was very disappointing. I mean, but again, I didn't quit.
Right.
I didn't quit.
How long was you working with? This was Warner Brothers, right?
That was Warner.
Okay, so how long was you working with them? Years, months?
Yeah, it was years. It was like a year about. I mean, it was some time. I mean, because you got to remember, you got to calculate the time for. We had to clear the record,
right,
and then the record to come out. Then the actual process of disassociating after the record, after we decide, because we were still like really trying to hang on and maybe do a side B, maybe do some other things because we had other records. You know, I even had other artists that I were actually lining up to run through the Warner Brothers network. So it was getting ready to be big. I mean, even like the Pat wrote, Doc D, and which is speaking of that, we did the second compilation with Doc D, which was affiliated with Warlock Sony. That was the project that was right after everything. Everything at that point was Warner driven. I mean, I had Arsenal. I was right there. I'm like, look, Joy Belly, the one that discovered Hammer, was our A&R. So she's discovered MC Hammer, and she was like my go-to. Like, hey, I can just call her up. I got a new project, new record. So I had a lot of power and control at that point.
So now during this time, you was working with 95 South and Splat Pack?
No, the Splat Pack. Matter of fact, that came when I did a project with Tiger Hill, which is a group here. Uncle Head. As a matter of fact, T-Pain, he did the production on that track called "Let Me See That." And Splat Pack, Head did the feature. Uncle Head did the feature on that record. It was like more of a regional state record. You know what I'm saying? Let Me See That. And it was a good record. It didn't go as big as the other record, but
Yeah, now 95 South and Splat Pack. I know all about that. Now, my man Big Bad Hair, I probably ain't gonna know too much about that. You know what I mean? But that's something I really wanted to ask you, man. Man, what happened to bass music? And because that would be back in our day. Okay. You know what I mean? Bass music, they called it booty music and all this other stuff. Man, when you go to the club used to be right.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And people used to be up in there getting off, dancing, and all this other good stuff. Now you go to a club, man, you gotta show how much of a fool you are, how bad you are, some of that, man. And we've gotten so far away from really what made it fun to go to the club, man.
Right. Yeah, I remember when you could slow dance. You had to slow dance.
Man, who you telling?
Pull your girl. If you didn't, we had
one of the reasons why I go
dance.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You used to get about at least 3 song sets. That was mandatory.
Right, and guess what? The hardest jokers was looking for it.
Hey, man,
everybody was looking for it.
Who you telling?
You dancing with her, and boy, when that,
no matter what,
hey, Mr. DJ, why don't you? Boy, hey, come here. I can name them. It was some
Michael
classics.
Sterling,
Knocking the Boots,
Lovers and Friends.
Oh man, you got to get that baby. Go get her. This your time, man. And that's when you gonna get that number and write it down, and you gonna put it in your pocket and hope you get it before your mama wash them jeans the next morning. She go in there and get that laundry, and you like, Mom, you done wash them pants?
Yeah.
She be like, yeah, what's going on? Oh man, I had a number in there I needed. And you're like, oh. But one thing about Tallahassee, we could get the same crew of people basically ran with it. They coming back next week.
Right. So
right.
You'll see somebody.
And that was the good thing about even with them. I seen them when he came up from doing stuff, him and Love B, when they was doing them in the hotel rooms. It was like the same crew of people that went from FAMU High, Gabi, Rickers, the Rock. It's like, that was the Moon. That was the Louvre. That was Screamers. That was Your House. If it was, you know what I'm saying, wherever. The same group of people almost kind of connected from all the schools because it wasn't like it is now, like the Childs and some of the schools we didn't even never heard of. Like, I mean, we knew they were there, but they wasn't like part of our dance, you know, when we going and really getting it in. So, yeah, so anyway, and I think they call that an era. But to go back to answer your question about bass music, technically it's not dead. The bass music.
Oh no, it's not.
Here's why I say that. In my definition and logic of it, it's beats per minute.
Absolutely.
When they speed up, City Girls, summer songs, Drake, they with the slide, the dancing. It always been like a comparison, like even the stuff they do in New Orleans, but we had a different type of funk with the loop and the break and we had bongos. We did a lot of different things with the bass, you know, and that go back to Clay D. And Mr. Mix, some of the pioneers, you know, what's my guy Devastator who did it, you know, the Poison Clan, you know, the samples. Boy,
you talking about some golden eras for me, man. I'm talking about good time.
Yeah, man, yeah.
I know all these names that you mentioned.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And matter of fact, with Jan Pony, the guy's Lock Jock. He was one of Lock Cool Jock's.
I think Lock Cool Jock was up here for homecoming.
Yeah, he's not. He's here now at my house right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we got some stuff because you know we got like this little tour and stuff we putting together. So they've been going out doing some short runs because we bringing them back. They do the Legends tour. So the Funk Fest and stuff, they kind of not as active, but they have another thing. I can't really say all the details right now because it's still being put together, but they are going back out to do some big shows and kind of bring back our era of people that we miss that stuff, you know.
But in Tampa, I know Tampa, it's alive and thriving down there in Tampa. You know, like you say, it ain't dead. They renamed it as Juke Music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And, man, I love it. Like I say, in a different chapter of my life, I was a DJ. And, man, we wanted that. You know, you had to search to find it. It wasn't, you know, put in your face like all this other stuff that's put into your face. Right. But, man, let me tell you something. It's still like the club up right now.
Oh yeah, man.
It's still like the club up right now.
You can take some of those records, man. It's almost like the energy is gonna recreate a whole vibe. I mean, and I always compare it to like Family Homecoming because those are the times when people of our generation would probably go out to clubs. Like, you know, back then, twice a month, 3 times a month, sometime every week, twice a week. The clubs was I had to go. You know what I'm saying? I had to be there. But the older you get, it's far and few now. You know what I'm saying? You rarely go into a club and just because, you know, it's just not entertaining. It's just other things now are going on in life, you know, and it's just not how it used to be. Fun. Let's go to the club. Let's go to Jay Riggins in the mall. Let's go walk the mall on Saturday and we're going to the party tonight. You know what I mean? It just... Everything's changed now, you know, and so Family Homecoming and big events, you know, it kind of bring you back 20 years and say, hey, man, you know, I remember. Let me go out tonight, you know. Yeah, and then when they play that set, man, you still remember. Round and round you go.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and, you know,
hey,
all that
your
stuff.
knees might not be as good. No. You can't get down there with them, you know what I mean?
No, you don't want to do that, man. You know?
Hey, being embarrass yourself out there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man, you don't want to
Hey, get this brother some help, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Hey, let's check it out, man. You've done some work with Trick Daddy also.
Well, the Noodles record on this project, which came from a guy named Naked, was my first artist, Neighborhood Nuisance. They moved to Fort Lauderdale. And that Thugs R Us compilation was something with Trey Plus 6, which was Slip and Slide, one of the first artists that they were really working with before the Warlock, the Atlantic deal. And Trick did the Thugs R Us,
right,
which was a compilation of several different artists. The Noodles record was the record that was submitted, but it was never finished, the version. Matter of fact, if you take the version of the record I have and the version of the record that they used at Slip and Slide, they're same groove, same feel, same producer, but two totally different sounds. My record is more complete. and their record is missing something, but the people still like the record. They still like they like both of the records, and that was crazy. So it became a situation where we put the record out simultaneously. Again, here we go with this vinyl again, and I'm running it through my people. The Trick Daddy compilation is being serviced with Trey Plus 6 featuring Naked on which is the artist tied into that compilation. Is the way it landed onto the compilation. So that pretty much put that through the channels, and we did deals on the actual, the publishing, the how you structure a deal on a song, and that's how we was able to tie in with that situation. And of course, build a rapport with the executives and Ted and all those guys over there and the whole staff. Yeah. So and again, coming in this music into that area, I tell people all the time, you can know all the people you want to know, but if you don't have that hit, that product, it's like irrelevant to the game. I can call up 3 or 4 executives now and just, oh, what's up, man? How you doing, man? You see what happened on that football game? What you got this week? And it'd be no problem. Tony Mercedes is one of them. He's a good guy. I learned a lot of stuff from him, and he kind of taught me some things about the game and good things. So it was never, even the artist, it was always good rapport. But you can't really do anything with these people unless you got a hit. I mean, they will shake your hand. They will drink with you. They will
How you doing, brother? Hey, I got some time to kill.
But when you start talking business, right, you need to be having business, right?
And have something for me.
Yeah, and it's just that simple. I mean, if it was like I said, if money can buy it, everybody will be a winner. But it has to have that passion. These guys don't get back in that studio and they don't go and do the work. You got to do 100 songs to get one. And that one song is like hitting the lotto, and it's hard to do it over and over. So when the Heavenly Father bless you to do multiple ones, it's Him involved because you got to get 10 million people on one accord. So to answer your question is that those connections with those artists and those labels are still there. They don't never go anywhere. Your name is still your name, but the product, that's the only thing to get old.
Before we move away from Alkon, when you're looking for an artist, what are some of the things that you're looking for that you would want to work with and push?
Okay, all right. First and foremost, I'm glad you asked that because I was just getting ready to say I have a current project right now. He's going to be performing at the Frenchtown Get Down coming up. He's an R&B artist. Okay. I've been dealing with Dale for some years, and we've had some records. We put out some stuff in the transition of times when it was just getting digital. It was digital, and it was just getting to where how to work a record digital. First it was Twitter, and it was MySpace, and getting views on YouTube, and all this stuff. But anyway, let's go back. But Dale B, he has a record called "Addicted to Your Love." That is going to be the next guy here, like big in Tallahassee. And I'm not just saying that because I'm behind the record or whatever, but it's some real big things going on the back panel. And to answer your question, what I look for, first, identity. When I say that goes for vocal identity. If can I sell this sound to somebody else where they know your voice when they hear it? Like it got to be different. Some kind of way I got to feel that in my nerve, in my spirit, that this has its own identity. You know what I'm saying? And that's what goes back into fashion, artists, everything ties in with identity, uniqueness. And once I can establish that, once I can establish the identity, then I go into the creativity process, because I don't get into that as much now, especially because you can almost do anything. I mean, you can make a record right now and have it out. People will go for it. It's not how old are you anymore. It's not it's not who's on it. It's can you strike a nerve. Can you say something silly enough to go viral?
Set yourself on fire.
That could be the hook. Set yourself on fire. Set yourself on fire. Set yourself on fire. And then do a TikTok video, somebody burning, running. Oh, he's on fire. Oh, she's on fire in the club. Look at next morning, 1 million streams. Hold it in the road, goes viral.
Right.
It's just that simple.
Yeah.
And I mean, we don't have to do no vinyl pressing, no CD burning.
Right.
Negotiating with no DJs, no radio, none of that crap. We go viral. Set this thing on fire. Set yourself on fire.
Right.
And then start the podcast. Set yourself on fire podcast. Set yourself on fire Kadobe t-shirts. Set yourself on fire hats. Set yourself on fire. Set it up. Set the car on fire and you go viral. I mean, it's wide open now.
Yeah.
So, you in a game where all the stuff that used to matter, it don't matter. Like, people are so still preoccupied of how do they look, how old they are. And I look at them and I'll be like, really? You got some marketing people still trying to hold on to traditional marketing.
Right.
You got to open your mind because these people are, the more crazy you are, if you go to Popeyes and you set yourself on fire, your record is good. You can have 2 beats or you can be beatboxing. I'm waiting on them to do that again. I'm waiting on it. Dougie Fresh still getting work. And I'm waiting on somebody to do a true beatboxing song and go and hit. I'm pretty sure it's been tampered with, but I mean it hasn't. I can't. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a record out. I don't know.
I think it's Raz B from the Roots. I mean, he be getting off with the beatboxing.
He do a beatboxing. Okay. Well, what I'm really saying is one of these little guys that's probably young and catch, and they try to bring back like the Fat Boys. Like we just gonna truly beatbox. Right. Nothing at it. Get and just do a record. But yeah, man, so it's kind of like the more weirder, the better for me. Because I know the unorthodox stuff is what they want to see, they want to hear. But in the R&B is what Del B is. He's an R&B artist. It's not all over the place, so you do have to be able to want to sing. And that's the most part of it. Writing is a plus. Because we don't have to go out and find writers. We don't have to go out and find the producers. I can deal with because that's okay. But the writing and just composing, I kind of like look for a nutshell. I kind of really where I'm at now. I kind of didn't really do the music as much anymore. I've been focusing on the fashion, but it ties in so much and it just makes so much sense when I'm doing something about fashion to say something about music. The stuff that I'm affiliated with. So, if I'm doing a fashion show, I need to have music played for them to walk down. So why not have artists do live band, sing, and bring another touch to the show? So there you go again, tying in music, fashion. You know what? I'll do it all. Let's just not separate it anymore. Let me just, come on, let's keep it like we got it.
Let me ask you one more question.
Yeah.
About the music.
Yeah.
Before I ask you about Off Glass TV and all those opportunities that you have, sign or independent? Which one is better? Why? And the benefits of both, the pros and cons of both. Okay. Well, the thing is, at the end of the day, the beginning of the day, if we're gonna really truly hold it in the road, like you saying, right.
The streaming, there's no back end. It doesn't really pay to have a whole lot of streams. That's not where the royalties are. I mean, you have a misconception where artists think that if they get 1 million streams, that's $1 million, $1 a stream, or even 25 cents. I wish it was that way, but man, I've been to school, graduated, and I never seen how they could chop a penny, how they could divide a penny. I never heard of it. They created a whole nother math for computing royalties. And independent is not bad if you truly know what you're doing. At the end of the day, it's still an art. It's still a process. It's still a correct way to set up a record. It's not about just taking records and uploading them to YouTube, DistroKids, or TuneCore, whoever they use. You know what I'm saying? And then they say, oh, the record is out. You know what I'm saying? That's not the correct way of putting a record out. You do need major labels, major staffing, major publicity agencies that know how to properly execute and set up a record because like you could find yourself doing C before A or F. You know, you could be all over the place. It's a certain order that things need to go because like, you know, say for instance, you want to put out this record. Well, you really need a video. You got to be able to, you really have to sell. So that means you got to put out this record. You got to get a digital because once you do the video and then once you're putting the video on platforms, you're going to need to have your stream already to associate that. You're going to have your merch accounts already ready to get your merch in place. So that way when people go to visit one thing, they actually see multiple things and they all tie in together and it's all digital. So you still have an art to it. Then once that's set in place, now you have to bring that outside the clutter. How do you cut through the clutter, the riffraff? That's where the traditional methods are going to come into play.
Signed.
Signed or unsigned. You know, signed. The only difference with signed and unsigned is, you know, I mean, I tell you, man, it's all about show money right now. Merch, shows, and appearances and different things other than the royalty. So technically, whoever could build that brand, if you got a label that want to put $2 or $3 million in your name to brand you so we can go get $50,000 a show, that's what it ultimately has to go to. That's to really make money into that business. So if you're independent and you truly know what you're doing and you got a good media source or staff that you can go pay and they can actually brand you to where you could demand certain numbers, then hey, just keep the rights or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But if you don't have that and you have an opportunity, and they're getting more desperate now because people used to fluff the number so much and the labels used to be like, oh, we put all this money in this guy and he didn't flop, but he appeared to have all these numbers and followings. Now they're going back to where, okay, they rather see good, realistic numbers, solid, even if they're really low, but they rather see a real fan base. You know what I mean? Because they can work with a real fan base and grow. So it's all about branding your name, man, and really being able to demand to get shows and sell merch. You could keep 100% of a big pizza, and you can give up a few slices and still a pizza. I mean, you know, it's still full. So
because you hear about a lot of these artists getting screwed and, you know, their masters and all this, you give all of this stuff up.
Yeah, that myth hadn't just started. That myth been going on since as soon as you say music business, you hear screwing, sharks, rip-off, shysters,
right,
killers, gangsters, don't be in it. Man, you know, you look at some of these guys behind the scenes. What about the publishers, the songwriters, the guys who play the keyboards? You think they Suge Knight? They think they tough? I mean, these guys are, some of them are church going to hit those keys and to really bring melodic sounds and really got Grammys and plaques and some of the nicest people in the world. You know what I'm saying? But if you're an artist and we're going to sell you, we have to sell you your image. This is your fan base. This is your following. This is how we brand you. So and some of those guys are educated. They are educated. They have to sell that brand because if nobody wants to come see you, if they can't relate to you, you know what I'm saying? That's where you get separation. So it's like, yeah, if you get a deal, I mean, they holler at the 360 versus, I mean, even like these digital platforms, they still get a percentage of it. They tell you keep 100% rights, but they still get a percentage of it. And the majors are tied into those entities. So there's no way to not share it in the revenue. There's no way. It's, you know, me personally, from my experience, I would take deals, but I'm not. I could give deals, but I prefer not to because I know those guys don't understand the back end. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to wrestle over the phone or in person about, well, we got 50,000 streams, we should have money. You know, not just explaining them like, yo, to calculate that 50,000 streams, bro, we'll be good to find $5 out this deal. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It may be a little more. I mean, but you know, I'm just, right. You know, the juice is not worth the squeeze at that point. Right. So it's like, look, the money is in the shows and it's in the publishing and it's into the sound exchange. You know, just get on but all that means nothing if it's not exploited right. So if they're going to exploit the record, or whoever is going to, if you can exploit the record and you can really do it correctly, then don't do the deal. But if not, take the deal and build a platform, build a brand, and do other things off of that brand that they help build.
Right.
And it's a win-win. You got to do more than one thing in life. Even if you're a businessman, you get in most business successfully, they do real estate. They do restaurants. They definitely have financial portfolios. So nobody's really going to be like, hey, you got ripped off in the music business, so you shouldn't have any money. No, the music business got me branded so I can sell other things through this brand.
Right.
So you have to have an open mind when you're doing these deals, because you're not going to, man, even if you tried and you had the best lawyer, you're not going to outsmart the people that run the business, that do the business.
Right.
They used to print the records. They get how in the world you're a distributor and you own a distributing company? How are you ever going to be fair about anything?
Right.
How am I can have everything in writing. That's just paper. It's ultimately up to the company to do the right thing. The company can say, okay, yeah, we've been in business 30 years, but we didn't tell you that we're getting ready to go bankrupt. So now y'all fight for the money. We take the money and run. Nobody gets paid.
Damn.
I mean, things like that could happen. So, I get it to wrap up on, okay, if I give you your master's buddy, what are you going to do with him? Realistically, do you have enough leverage? Do you have enough fan base? Or do you even know why you want them?
Right.
Do you even know what to do with them? Are you going to get them? I'm going to give them to you and you're going to go with somebody else and they may rip you off more than what you thought I was ripping you off with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you obviously probably don't know what to do with them. Anyway, you just screaming what you hear somebody else say, I want my masters.
Right.
And it's any business, man. If you asking somebody to invest money, they're not going to say, I'm going to give you $100,000 to get $100,000 back. Even banks are the most shysters. If that's the case, they want interest. Your house is not your house. You're going to pay for this house if we give you the money 5 times. And if you mess up, we're going to get it. And we're going to sell it as many times as we want to. Everybody's making money off of you. So if that's the case, those are the real people you need to be arguing with. The music business ain't nothing. The people who do the concrete, the brick, the painters, the people who run the paint and everything, it's the same thing, same game. It's just, you're not going to stop the people who make. It's just almost virtually impossible, man. You can go get all these lawyers and say, well, my paperwork was just like this. It was great. There's no room for error, man. I mean, boy, I got it. Where did I shine? Okay. Well, it's still up to them to do the right thing. Right. To honor this paperwork the right way. Or they could say, oh, well, fight me in court about it. If you got a gripe. So
if in that case, it probably would be better to be independent as possible.
Well, independent is, like I said, if you could truly do it right, and you really know what you're doing, and when I say know what you're doing, meaning not just recording a record, putting it on the platform and posting it to your peer group and saying the record is out. Right. That's not putting the record out. Right. You know what I mean? So that's the difference. You're independent, but you have a donut instead of a pie. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You own all of it. Yeah. It's all yours, but it's still not. You still got a deal. As soon as you put it on that social platform, you are affiliated with majors. Right. So you still got a deal. Right. But they're not going to brand you if they're only getting, if I give you $100,000 and I'm only going to get 25 cents back, then it's not, the juice is not worth the squeeze for them to invest. I mean, it has to make sense. Right. So I think, and I'm not even saying this to have people, they go bananas on blogs and just start talking about this and that, because I'm not knocking either way. All I'm saying is that if you could take the record and exploit it the correct way, that's what it's all about. The back end is the back end, but the front end is what you need to be concerned about. Can we get this record heard? Because if I'm going to take this record from my hard drive and I'm going to just take it to a platform on Spotify, whoever I'm uploading, and all I'm going to do is share it, then all I did was move it from hard drive to hard drive, database to database. Now I'm looking at it where I could click and see it on their platform. But if nobody's truly working and know what they're really doing to make those numbers magically happen, or really put it still in situations, still get those big interviews, still do those big things that majors do for artists to get them branded, then you're just on the hard drive.
Right.
That's the difference.
Right.
So, but to get off of the hard drive into that system, of course, they're going to want some of it.
Right.
So, and with my position and what I do in what I used to do, what really into that, they don't even do it no more. Like the true middleman and the front loading and being the production entity and getting the budget and doing the whole, that game is really out. It's obsolete. You know, guys like me, either you manage and do the 360, because you're going to have to do a 360 yourself. Me personally, I mean, like, I'm going to have to get into some shows, some merch, and to make it worth my time. Right. You see, so I can't just sit here, because I've tried it before, to say, hey, I'm just going to have a distribution company. And I'm just going to distribute, and you pay, and we'll do 80-20. You keep 80, I keep 20. It sounds great in the sense of, well, it's really going to be a big back end. And I keep 80%, and I'm really going to win, because you're going to get 20, and you're going to spend all your money. You're going to do all that work. You must be crazy. Yeah, I'm winning. That's what the mentality is, most of them are. Yeah, I'm going to get you this time. But there's no back end. 80-20, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? So you want me to spend all the money to get 20% of literally nothing? You know what I'm saying? Right. And then you're going to harass me and hound me about where's the money on the 80? I don't need no more green. I don't need more headaches. You know what I mean? So
ain't nothing left after the gray is skin.
Right. So let me get into your show in management. Right. But again, do you have the time? Do you have the energy to get out there on the road? Do you? Because it's not sweet either. There. That's a hard knock. That's a hard knock life. And a lot of people. And I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna let you ask another question, because I have to really say this, because a lot of artists are they're in a game and in a business that they truly don't even know if they really gonna like. Because you got to remember, man, if you're not passionate about this and if it's not in your heart, see, right now it's cool because you got your so-called family and you can just go to the studio. They right down the street, or you might even have a studio in the house. You're there. Yeah. You can play around. Y'all might get into arguments of, hey, you need to get a job. You need light bills. Do you run up light bills? I've seen it all. Yeah. And you're saying, well, I'm going to hit. Okay, now, when you hit, your schedule changed. You're not at the house anymore. Right. You're in high demand. You're barely sleeping. You're doing 2 or 3 shows. You may have a big major interview that morning, got to fly. I mean, you're super busy. You're in demand. This is the life that you said you wanted. But see, you wasn't really truly living the complete life of the entertainment business. You were living a part of it, the pre-production, studio, trying to make it life. And that was more subtle. It was more, doable, I guess, in some instances, if you really have a balanced lifestyle where you working, taking care of your bills and, your family and whatnot, and doing this as a hobby or doing this as a trying to get to the next level. But what happens when you get to that next level? You still think that you're going to just be able to kick it on the block, hang there, and just be there all day? And no, you going to really make money and you're going to have to put this body, your flesh out there, and you're going to be in demand. Right. So sometimes you could be asking for something that you really may not even like.
I agree with that 100%, brother. I think a lot of people need to hear that and understand that. Yeah. About the sacrifices that need to be, that's required. Yeah. And if you're not passionate about it, you're going to fizzle out. You know what I mean?
It's got to be something underneath to keep you driving, to just keep you going. It's got to be a driving force there that's saying, I love this game.
Absolutely.
And if you're going to ask me to pay $50 a ticket, I mean, I'm getting tired of getting ripped off from you walking across the stage. Oh, yeah. Giving me, I like the old school shows where they entertain you. Now you $50. I don't even know if you can. I'm thinking $100. I don't even know what they're charging now. But
a yard, at least.
Yeah. So. Oh yeah. So you're like, okay, if I'm going to make show money, it's just like a barber. You got to cut hair. It's good money in it, but you got to cut a lot of heads. You got to do a lot of shows. You see what I'm saying? So if you're not willing to go out and put in this work, and put in this energy that it's going to take, then you're defeating the whole purpose of you even trying to get into the entertainment business, because it is a business and it is a big responsibility on you to entertain these people. Mm-hmm. And the minute that you slip, the minute you do something crazy, everybody knows. Everybody, the bad news can hurt you. The thing could make people lose sponsors. I mean, it happens. You read it, you see it online. I'm not telling you anything new. And again, this is just my point of view of it. Somebody else would say, no, I could do it. Well, you know, everybody says that till they have to do it.
Oh, yeah. Until it's time. You know what I mean?
Man, I'm tired. I'm fatigued.
Oh, no.
Man, tell them, man, we got to cancel, man. I ain't doing that, man. I got to be down. What?
Yeah, you ain't got to worry about canceling no more. How about that?
Right. Because like I said, once you do something bad, everybody's going to know.
Right.
Mm-hmm. All the promoters talk. Man.
That's what's up. All right. Off Glass TV and working with UPN, say you had 2 seasons of Off Glass TV. How did that opportunity come about? What was the show about? I missed it.
Yeah, Off Glass TV was one of those other things where I would say, hey, I need a name. I wanted to build a platform for basically promoting videos. It was a video show. It was similar to something called On the Set that they had here.
Fam?
Yeah, Fam. And, you know, I was in Atlanta at the time, and I said, I need a name. We came up with Off Glass. Well, I came up with Off Glass. At the time, Mark Starr was doing some graphics. He built the frame for it. The UPN, the whole network with that came about. You know, I was in Atlanta, and I was seeing some other different shows that was operating or whatever, and I was interacting with those guys about some of the ways that they were going about it. And I said, well, you know, I think my market where I'm from, they are missing, you know, something like this, because it was already competitive in Atlanta. I didn't want to, you know, bump heads in that area, so I would take things that I knew from Atlanta and bring them to Tallahassee. So just basically reaching out and pitching the idea. It's just like anything else. You know, you pitch the ideas, you come up with a common denominator of airtime, when, is it viewership, can the station see where they can, you know, make money by being affiliated with Off Glass, the program, what demographic, is it going to overlap? They're saying, I think at that time we came on after SmackDown. Thursday was the first run at 11 p.m. The SmackDown was big with the wrestling, and then, you know, they didn't want to make it where it was too late, where we would miss our target audience, and we didn't want to make it too early, because UPN was prime time at the time. They were showing the big, like, sitcom, the shows, you know, like especially the urban, more black shows and stuff like that. I think Moesha, was on there, and I can't even remember exactly what shows were airing, but yeah, and it was just simple deal stuff that I had already did, coming from the music business already, were familiar with terms and conditions and being clean. They had to see a couple shows in the can. They wanted like 3 or 4 weeks in the can to go through them, see if you got the right. So it's technical stuff that nobody sees, that you have permission to play these videos from these major artists. They have to be able to sign off on these things when you're doing events. They wanted you to have certain insurance on liabilities of filming, people being okay with being aired. They won't come back and sue the show. So it was really a headache. 30 minutes, it seemed like 30, but it seemed like to put them together was way more tedious, way more tedious than the 30-minute airtime. And of course, I was the host. So I would do, like I said, the same approach from Soul Train I learned early. Shoot them all in the can, man. Shoot them all in the can. So every week, you're not like, oh man, what am I doing this week?
Somebody.
And if you got time, if you need time to edit and do all those things, then you got time, you know. And a lot of times we would have to rerun, because I'm trying to think, because we did move to the WB network on Saturday mornings. And I think that was right before it stopped running, because UPN went again. They stopped, the whole network crashed. You know what I'm saying? Disappointments again. So God again
Right.
You get disappointed. Are you going to quit? Or are you going to keep moving? You know?
Right.
So it's one of those things that's devastating. I mean, you come in and somebody tell you, hey man, we're going to do away with the show. We're no longer going. You're like, oh man, that's going to be a hurting thing for a while. You know, sometimes some people never recover, man.
Right.
It's a life-changing thing, mentally, physically, man. But if it's in you, it's in you. So yeah, but long story short, yeah, it was just reaching out to their account executive at the time, and just kind of bouncing numbers around and locking in a contract of air dates. And once we locked in the contract, it's up to me to go get my team, which is I went through several teams. I even had to go back to doing the show out of Atlanta. And this is when I learned FedEx was really good. And be there by 8 o'clock. They'll be there the next day for sure, because I had ran into some lead times where the window was like, we need it by tomorrow at this time. And I had to go drive all the way to the airport where it was almost like 8 o'clock. They would close at 8. But anyway, FedEx was my best friend. FedEx was like, yeah. I'm like, if I can get to FedEx, but damn, where's one closer? Oh, I got to go all the way to the airport. But hey, I get it to FedEx, they'll get it back. And, so.
Right.
But then I moved down here and it became a lot easier.
That's what's up. Final question.
Yeah.
Curveball.
Yeah.
Something that you kind of hit on earlier, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna ask him this guy. Is money power?
Okay. Power, depending on the definition of how you perceive and use power. Money make things definitely happen. But money is not the only thing that make things happen. I think to be successful, my technique and strategy is to take money out the equation so you can come up with a true blueprint of a grind mode mindset. Money is just like adding icing on cake. Even without the icing, still have flavor. It's all about, do you want to add that extra ingredient? Because I said, money don't buy success. Money don't fix problems. Money can fix money problems. Bills are late, lights about to get cut off. Having some money could go fix that. It's not going to fix you. It's not going to rush you to the top. But it's a high necessity. But power is how you use it. If you use it to go put a hit on a guy's head, it's not good. If you use it to go get a homeless shelter started, it's great.
Right.
So it's powerful.
Right.
But it's like one of those double-edged swords. It's how you use it.
Right.
But should it be your main force of interest of doing things in business? No, you got to have a passion, because money will come and go. Money will cause you to, money is the big suicide rate, divorce rate. Money is the biggest devil rate in the world. You let money chase you, don't chase it.
Right.
That's a spiritual thing at that point. But we spend most of our life chasing it, and that's why you bump your head. That's why. And it's so crazy because, like, a lot of brothers don't realize this until it's too late. They're incarcerated doing 30, 50 years and still haven't lived a John Gotti life. I mean, you only went to family homecoming. You didn't go past anything extravagant. But they're giving you life in prison. And you learn all of these things, but it's kind of hard to do anything about it because you're incarcerated. But now you see the spiritual grounding. Now you see what God was doing. Right. So you thank God for the signs that He's showing you along the way to keep you free to be able to do things about it, because it will come and go, and you will get tested in that area, even when you're so-called successful. If that's what you base your success on, you might as well go to the fair and get on the roller coaster, because you're gonna be on that ride, up and down, up and down.
Right.
It comes, it goes. It's up and down. You may have and that's the worst part, when you wake up and say, yeah, I got to figure it out now. Man, boy, I got money saved over there. I got options. Oh, God, man, I feel good. And then that's when something's going to come, a challenging point, a moment going to come, and then you're going to, either it's going to take it all or it's going to take it where it doesn't mean nothing now, because you're like, oh, man, I got this news. So you're constantly into that battle of challenge. But it will make you very comfortable, and the Father will take care of you with it, but you're going to have to go through something to learn what to do with it. So I hate to tell you, you're going to have to lose to win again. And that's growing pains. Can you stand the pain? Can you stand the rain?
That's what's up. Lonnie, Chico, Dusti.
Chico, Dusti.
Man, it's been an absolute pleasure sitting here talking to you.
Yeah.
I mean, we have grown, you know what I mean? And we've learned just sitting here talking to you, man. You know, we can go on all day. You know what I mean? We can go on all day. But you know what I'm saying? I know you're a busy man. If someone wanted to get in contact with you, man, how could they go about doing that?
Well, they can hit me at info@kadobeapparel.store. I almost said .com. Info@kadobeapparel.store. Or they can hit me on the social media. I'm not going to so much put my cell phone out, you know, because it changes, and I do have like a couple different numbers. So they could go on my platform, Lonnie Copeland. I mean, you know, and to me, I like to be one-on-one for now because that's how I find my next graphic artist, or my next recording artist, or my next business venture, because I also do United Living group homes where I do have affordable housing beds for people that are getting SSI checks, are not as fortunate.
That's what's up.
So I do work with those programs as well to do some things, and that may be another podcast. But man, Lonnie Copeland, Chico, Dusti, hit me on the. But you know, as long as it ain't nothing crazy, you know, I'm all right, man. I don't do the drum on the social, but like if you got an idea, I like to hear it. I like to get in with my people that way because I'm able to kind of like say grow and prep and guide the baby. You know what I mean? I don't need the baby already walking. I don't mind feeding the baby, nourishing the baby till they get old enough to walk and do for themselves. So I'm still at the step of like, don't call me until you at this mile or this amount of success, you know? And let me hear your idea because you may just need, like I said, the money is not always the driving force. You may just need that one opportunity or that intellect to say, hey, man, instead of paying them for this with your $10, why don't you take your $10 here? And they call that guidance and direction. Right. So you can't buy that. Right. So if I can offer that to somebody, don't cost you a thing.
That's what's up, man. Like I said, it's been an absolute pleasure. We love to sit down, man. You understand what I'm talking about? Whenever you got the time so we can continue to learn and grow from you, man. Yeah. It's been an absolute pleasure. Till the next time, everybody, y'all know what it is. For Mr. Gray Fox, Big Bad Harold, y'all live right, play fair. Holla at us.
When life switch to sports mode, hold it in the road. When you get so mad you can explode, hold it in the road. Bro, just stay focused on your goal. Don't let them crack the mold. The finish line straight ahead, bro. Hold it in the road. Bullets with a badge, or never get a pass. We can see straight through your mask. You made a glass, homie. Just think before you do the dash, cause it might be your last. Lay you in that grass, face down. You shoulda put your hands up. I promise you the red got them handcuffs. Look, we need to change our recreation. Let's focus on some education. How about let's fight for our reparations? How about let's teach our next generation? Big Bad Harold, Mr. Gray Fox. Let's give them motivation. When life switch to sports mode, hold it in the road. When you get so mad you can explode, hold it in the road. Bro, just stay focused on your goal. Don't let them crack the mold. The finish line straight ahead, bro. Hold it in the road. When life switch to sports mode, hold it in the road. When you get so mad you can explode, hold it in the road. Bro, just stay focused on your goal. Don't let them crack the mold. The finish line straight